recording here. Welcome to another Saturday Sparks Live. My name is Adam Bauer. I'm the CEO of the Marketing Clerics, here to present questions, comments, answers that people have asked ahead of time. If you have a question you would like to ask, leave a comment, and as we get to it, as we have today, we've got 4 questions, and the reason we are doing this is providing value first, helping electricians and low voltage pros with their marketing efforts, their business growth, and just doing this as an avenue for us to do that. So this is our 4th episode, and I'm really excited to share this with you every week, Saturday at 9 a.m. Central, here on Facebook Live. It's also, the replay is also being posted out to our podcast on YouTube. We've got an audio-only podcast going out to Spotify and iTunes and all that kind of stuff. iTunes, Apple Podcasts. I dated myself there. Anyway, this week we have a couple of comments or questions that actually came up in some of the conversations that I've been having with electricians the past couple of weeks. And so I wanted to take time to answer those questions today. And if there are anyone that is joining live that has any other questions to ask, I'd be happy to answer them as I have the knowledge to answer them. So the first question that we have is, how can I move beyond relying just on word of mouth? This is a big one because a lot of electricians, especially as they're starting out, there's not a whole lot of budget in terms of marketing spend, and even some of the veteran electricians out there, they don't think they need to spend any money on marketing because they have the word of mouth. And the issue that they're facing is that it's inconsistent. Some months it could be really busy. Some months it is slow. And so being there, having something, strategy beyond just word of mouth is very important as a business owner. And so the first thing you want to do is you want to shift from random acts to having consistent systems. What I mean by that is when you are going out and posting on social media, be intentional. Set up a content calendar, set up an idea category of posts that you're going to make on a regular basis, and capture that content in your work, in your daily work, with your team, all that kind of stuff. Be intentional about that for your business page as well as for some of your personal content. So you want to have 2 separate calendars. On your business side, you want to have a lot of relation to your customer testimonials, Google reviews, featuring those projects that you've done, and some light promotional, probably about 20% promotional content. You want probably about 25-30% educational, and then you want to have some just behind the scenes and that kind of stuff. And so one of the things you should do is just have that intentionality when it comes to social media. So business side, on the personal side, you want to keep your business conversations and posts really minimal. So 20%, 25% of your posts should be about business. The other ones should really be about your personal life, your family, your daily activities, that kind of stuff, or what you're doing on the weekend, that kind of stuff. And one of the things that I've found to be very helpful is that the more intentional I am with my social media, the less pressure I have to post in the moment. And so if I have a category bank of things that I want to post on my personal or my business page, I can recognize those events happening or those things happening in real time and capture the pictures, capture the videos and that kind of stuff, and then schedule them for that later date, that later category. And so when you catch a moment, so really exciting moment in our lives is Louis started to walk yesterday and captured that on video, and I'm scheduling that for later this week. And just, it doesn't have to be the exact moment that it happened. It can be later in the week. And so that's the pressure release when it comes to social media. It's like everyone thinks like, oh, it happened at that moment and you got to capture it and you got to post it right away. Otherwise it's not valuable. No, people don't know if it happened today or if it happened last week. And so that's a little release valve for that. So be intentional with social media is the first shift into consistent systems. The second shift is creating your customer journey map. What I mean by that is, how do customers find you? How do they contact you? What happens when they contact you? Do they talk to an office manager? Do they talk to you? How long does it take to get the project bid out to them, the estimate out to them? How long after the estimate does it take to get out there to get the work done? And then once the work is done, what's next? What do you do after that? Do you follow up with them a couple days later saying, hey, how are things looking? Are things still powered on and working great? And then after that, do you add them to a mailing list of customer information? And so mapping out that customer journey is really important, because what that does is it allows you to build systems around that journey. And so systems that contain automated responses or follow-ups or things that you want to make sure it doesn't feel automated, of course. But if you have a process down, this is exactly what we do every time. It's consistent, it's reliable, and it encourages more customers to come through you with that experience. So that's the second really consistent system that you want to do when you're shifting from random acts to consistent systems. The third really is identifying your best service and putting together a marketing message, a customer process, a delivery process, and a follow-up of that service. And so really nailing down, what does it look like? So let's say, for example, your best service is standby generator installs. Okay, so what does it look like? What does the messaging look like for that audience that needs that? What is the experience of the customer when they call you or email you? How do they get a quote for that service? When are they expected to have you come out and install that generator? And after it's installed, what does regular maintenance look like? Are you going out there every year, every quarter to do testing, to do maintenance? And how do you keep them, how do you help them keep you top of mind as they continue to need electrical services down the line? And so building that is like the customer journey map, but it's specific to one service. And so if you don't have something that's overall yet, you can build it just for one service. So for those of you just joining, we are talking about how to move beyond relying on word of mouth, just relying on word of mouth, and jumping into other services, other avenues of getting customers. So thank you everyone for joining. The second point that I will make on relying just on word of mouth is investing in visibility, not just reputation. And so reputation will get you started. It will get you started with what you need. But the challenge is reputation, you're relying on your past customers to market for you. And so they might not get the message right. They might not get the timing right. They might promise a certain experience that you didn't deliver or don't deliver. And above all, it's just inconsistent. Because how many people do you know that have consistent electrical issues that are getting referred out? And so that's kind of the deal with reputation and word of mouth. And so investing in visibility, what that looks like is doing your local SEO. So local SEO is your Google business profile, making sure that you have your services built out in your Google profile, making sure you have photos that are regularly posted of the jobs that you do, make sure you are adding posts on a regular basis. So new promotions, new service areas that you're jumping into. Make sure your hours are defined to what your ideal hours are. Set your, what was it? So services, hours, posts, Q&A. So questions and answers are a big thing. So you can actually go into your profile. You can ask a question. So say, hey, how long can I expect my generator to power my home, my 5-bedroom home or whatever? And you can give an answer to that. And that way, when people are searching for home generator installs, they will find your profile. And then when you are building out the categories, so the primary category is going to be electrical contractor or electrician. There are other subcategories to that you can add. And so take a look at your subcategories and add as many that are applicable to you as possible, because that will help with people searching for you and your business. So that's from a local SEO standpoint. The second tier for visibility is going to be targeted meta ads. And so I wanted to share the Meta Ads library with you. If you haven't seen it before, this tool is really nice. So basically, when you're looking at Meta Ads, you want to think from the perspective of your buyer. So your ideal customer, when they're scrolling through Facebook, typically it's in their downtime, when they're right before bed, or if they've got small children, when they're not bothering them and they're just wanting to veg out. And so what you want to keep in mind is typically for higher ticket items that are demand needed. So hey, I had a lightning strike my home and I've got some electrical issues afterwards. They're not going to scroll through Facebook and find your ad for troubleshooting electrical issues. What they're going to find and really convert on in the Facebook world or the Instagram world when they're scrolling is actually going to be more your luxury purchases, your nice to haves, your stories that you're selling. And so when you're running Meta Ads, I don't recommend doing anything around break fix because they're going to go straight to Google, and we'll talk about that shortly. And so primarily I recommend doing the Meta Ads for things that are luxury. And so generators that are selling a story, or landscape lighting, curb appeal improvements, that kind of stuff. Those are the kind of things that you'll want to see and use with Meta Ads. The other thing that you might do, and what we recommend, is doing some brand awareness ads on Facebook. And what those do is it's just a touch point for anyone that lands on your website. They'll see an ad for your business as well. And so they're very low cost, $200 a month. And those ads are going to be just general. They're going to talk about your values, who you are as an electrician. They're going to talk about the benefits of working with you, that kind of stuff. They're not going to sell a specific service. They're not going to try to sell anything, really. They're just there to bring awareness to your company and your brand. So when you're in the ad library, one of the things you can look at is you can look at your competitors' ads, either your competitors or other people running ads. And so if you have, if you're in here and you basically select all ads, you can search by keyword or you can search by competitor. So I've just searched by a keyword of standby generator, and then I can see these are all active ads, launched May of 2025. And we can see all of the different people that are running generator ads. And so what I would recommend, see this is kind of funny. So we've got two different people running the same ad. And so what I would, actually more than that, a lot of different people running that same ad. So this must be something that Briggs & Stratton provides, maybe some marketing assets that Briggs provides. But what I would recommend is looking through this, not necessarily to take ideas from other people, but to identify what not to do. And so one of the most powerful things you can do with Meta Ads is stand out from all the other ads there. And so if you look through all these ads, you've got image ad, this is a carousel, you've got image, here's a video, another video. What people think is like, oh, I'll just do video ads because video ads convert. Well, not necessarily. So this is a carousel ad for just with this images. So take a look at what others are doing, and you can actually look at the full details too. So you can see that is not a generator ad, that is a home for sale ad. So let's see, here we go. Here's one. And so you can see basically that this is the headline, description, this is the image icon, and this guy doesn't have any body text on it. Just has the full text in the ad image. This is the only ad this guy is running. It's running on Facebook, Instagram, Audience Network, and Threads. And that's one of the things I want to touch on is when you are running Meta Ads, it's going to default to showing in all of these areas. I would highly recommend only showing it on the Facebook newsfeed. So Audience Network, that's going to be like showing up in mobile apps as an ad, and anywhere else like Facebook might be present on the internet. And the Instagram is just not very good for sales ads and that kind of stuff. Threads, again, it's just, you're not going to get any better than just doing Facebook newsfeed. And even removing it from, you might put it in Marketplace, but just Facebook newsfeed. What will happen with that then is your impressions will be more intentional. You won't waste a bunch of money on impressions and people seeing the ad. And so that'll help with some of the ad spend. It'll keep it down a little bit. So that's meta ads, doing that. So hop out here. If you have a competitor out here, you can look at what ads they're doing. This guy's not doing any ads, but if I could just search like electric, maybe I'll pull up so let's see, let's do Hawaiian Electric. They're not doing any, but you can actually see what ads your competitors might be doing and see what they're targeting and that kind of stuff too. So that is the meta ad library. The other visibility thing that you want to do is Google Ads, and I'm not saying LSA. So Google LSA is a way to blanket throw your name out there as a business, as an electrician, for any services around electricians. The Google Ads and PPC is entirely different. And so this strategy actually allows you to target specific services for the ad. Instead of just electrician near me, you can target whole home generator installs, whole home rewiring, those high ticket keywords that will show up with your ad and only pay for those keywords. The downside to Google Ads versus LSA is it's not free to show up and receive a click. When you get a click on Google Ads, you get charged a cost and amount. And that's the one downside. So it's not like you get a guaranteed lead and this is how much you pay. Generally, it's more affordable for a click than it is on LSA. Cost per lead, I would say, is about the same, depending on the keywords you're targeting, of course. So I wanted to show you Google Keyword Planner. So this is within Google Ads. So you'll need to have a Google Ads account to access this tool. Go into Tools, Keyword Planner, and then select Discover New Keywords. And I'm just going to put in here whole home generator install. I'm going to put in home rewiring. I'm going to put in electrical remodeling. Just trying some of these. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit save for now. Get results. Keep it the United States area until we get to the planner. And so what you'll see here is the keywords that we provided are up here. And so average monthly volume searches you can see is 1,000 to 10,000 for that one, 1,000 to 10,000 for home rewiring, 100 to 1,000 for electrical remodeling. So that's not a high volume one. There are differences. So this is keywords that we provided. Keyword ideas. So Google will come up with some keyword ideas around like the keywords that we had put in. And the strategy here is you don't want to, you want to have the ones that are of high intent to on the service that you're offering. And so for when it comes to like home generator, a whole house generator, you're probably not selling the generator product so much as you're selling the generator service with the product, right? So the whole home generator is probably not going to be a very good keyword because it's just going to be like products. And so we can test that. We can just copy that keyword and put it into Google search here. Yeah, see sponsored ads are Generac selling it, Comfort by Design, that's a local place here, Midwest Electric Generator. So these are selling generators. Then we have products, so product generators. So they're not really more products. And so what you want to do is you want to target the keywords that are actually going to be services. So install. So this is services. So you get the LSA, but you also get the installation type services, okay? The other thing you can do is add near me to it. So here's whole house generator installers near me. And there's a couple of columns I want to call out here in Google Keyword Planner. So you have average monthly searches, the 3-month change. So this is how much it's gone up or down in the last 3 months. YOY change is year over year change. So how much it has gone up or down the volume of the search year over year. The competition is how much competition is searching for that keyword, or how many people are showing that keyword for ads. The top of page bid is going to be the cost per click to get to the top of the page. This is the low range. The high range is the next one over. And so you can see the home generator install is $4.59 nationwide on average to $21.84 nationwide on average. And so we'll look through some of these. Couple other tips for ads. You want to stick away from or DIY or how to or pricing, that kind of stuff. Because when people are searching for all house generator cost, generally speaking, they're looking for the lowest bid. They're looking to figure out how less they can spend, or how much they have to spend versus how much they need it and want it. So those are some tips there. So that's rewiring. You can add more keywords here. So let's say maybe we want to do electrical panel upgrade or some other ones. I don't think that's as profitable, but in here. So here's electrical panel upgrade. This one is interesting. So you can see 1,000 to 10,000. That is a 900% increase over the last 3 months. 900% increase year over year. And the competition is low. The bid range is between $3 and $18. And then you can see other installations here. So hot tub electrician near me, that's a good local one. And we can go through that. So once you have your keywords, you can add them to keyword plan. And then once you have the plan, you add more keywords. What I recommend here is finding the services that are the most profitable for you and then search for those. Once you have the keywords in those plans, you go into forecasts and then choose all saved keywords and hit done. And then what's going to happen is it's going to pull out forecasting for all keywords that we have, maximizing conversions. It's going to default to broad match type, which is okay for just this forecasting process. And then Google is what we want to keep to. We could also try Google and search providers. Generally speaking, you might get a little more results from that. And we can choose month, next quarter, estimate for how many conversions you'll expect in the next quarter or the next month. And this is for United States. And so what I would recommend, so that right now, nationwide, if we spend $2,800 a month, about 22 conversions. So average cost per acquisition per conversion, so lead is $120. We're talking selling a $10,000 product or a $5,000 service. That's minimal for that. That's nationwide. So now if I switch and I want to do, let's just say I want to do Baton Rouge area. So here's Baton Rouge area. I'm going to take out United States. And so here's Baton Rouge area. And this is where the estimator is a little tricky sometimes. And so you're essentially saying, okay, you're probably not going to get very many with $30 budget for those keywords in this area. You can area, and so if you wanted to include more areas around there, the forecasting is not a perfect science, but it is a way to help you get a good idea of where you should be in order to get the conversions that you're looking for. And so the other thing down here in the forecaster is location. So it's kind of nice to see, okay, so of Rouge area, East Baton Rouge Parish is going to get the most conversions based on their estimations and their forecasting. And the second most is Ascension Parish. And so you can see by location where they're to see the most conversions. All right, so hopefully helpful. If you no conversions, you might want to try adding more keywords and seeing where they're at. But really the intent is increasing visibility around specific services that are high ticket, high profit for you, instead of the Google LSA, which you're just showing up for everything. So that is a gist of investing in visibility and not just reputation. For those of you just joining, we are due to the first question: how can I move beyond relying just on word of mouth? First tip is shifting from random acts to consistent systems with social media, with customer journey mapping, with automated responses and systems. Second is investing in visibility and not just reputation, using local search engine optimization with your Google profile, targeting meta ads using the Facebook ad library, running targeted Google ads based on high ticket services. Third is leverage what you already have. And so you have past customers, you have past work. So use that past work to reinforce your brand story. What that looks like is asking for Google reviews from your past customers as you get them. I know that's self-explanatory, but one of the things that people very rarely do is ask for a Google review. And you can make this really easy by going out to Zappy, getting these little wallet-sized Zappy cards and connecting it with your Google profile. And then when you get to someone, when you finish someone's project, you just go to them as the conversation and the project, hover the card over their phone, say, hey, I'd love it if you'd leave me a Google review based on the experience that you've had here with me. Pulls up your Google profile directly to the leave a review page, and there you go. They're like $25. Second is testimonial videos. And so these are powerful if you have customers that had a large project, they had a very complex project, or maybe they had a project where you had to come in and fix some DIY work or some other electrician's work that was not to the same standards that you have. And so getting those reviews, videos are hard to and hard to ask for. But one of the things that we found is that if you like an interview, if you pitch it like an interview, hey, I want a Zoom interview with you based on your experience with our company. Would you be willing to do that and have just a 15-minute Zoom conversation? And I'll ask you questions and you can answer truthfully to your experience, and then record that conversation. And then you can take that and you can splice it up and you can have your customer testimonial video. You pull yourself out there and you make them the front and center, take your audio out, your questions out, that kind of stuff. It's a really easy way to do it. And then lastly, for projects, for work. So oftentimes I see a lot of electricians, they hit project pages or portfolio pages on their websites, and they're just pictures, either completed work or before and afters, that kind of stuff. But it doesn't, the story doesn't really, unless you're an electrician and you know what you're looking at, it doesn't really tell the story. And so what I recommend for all electricians is when you're capturing pictures on site for a big project, also capture what the original request was, capture what you provided as a solution, how you were unique and different in your solution, and the delivery mechanisms and the highlights, and maybe even a review from the customer for the project you did. And putting that all out on a single page with multiple different photos and sections that tell the story, the narrative, is going to be way more powerful than just a gallery of pictures. Fourth is think like a steward, not a contractor. And so you want to be a good steward of the things that you have. So the messaging of your brand, of your company, you want to be a steward of all the things. So when you're out posts on social media, when you're communicating with an email or an invoice, make sure that messaging aligns with your brand. You want to see your brand when it comes to your technicians. You're out there in the field. Make sure that they understand this is who we are. This is our brand. This is our image, and you represent as you go out. And stewarding your data. And so this one is more like, I know exactly how people have called me. I know where they came from. I know the results of that flyer campaign that I mailed out. I know how many I got from it. I know how many people land on my website from Google. I know how many I get from Google LSA. That one's easy. But being a good steward of your data means taking not only the data that you get but also taking action on it. So doing more of the things that get you the best and less of the things that don't really work. In the end of the day, marketing isn't about manipulation. It's about multiplication. Stewarding the story that your business has, stewarding the brand and the work that you've done, the quality work that you've done, God will multiply the seeds that you plant with that work. And so that's essentially how you move beyond just relying on word of mouth. All right, thanks for those just joining. If you have a question, drop it in the comments. I'll get to it. Our next question is how can I compete with the big corporate firms in my area. And this is very interesting because I have, the strategy is very similar to the strategy that we implement here at the Marketing Clerics. And so you want to play to your strengths that are not theirs. And this is kind of like, the bobber, keep your eye on your bobber, stay in your lane, that kind of stuff. So to a certain extent, you want to focus on the strengths that you have as a small business provider and things that you can do that the big boys can't. So think things like flexibility of scheduling, fast response times, real responses and not like AI responses. Actually getting on the phone when you're calling instead of getting a call center or a prompt, like a call tree. Those things are yours, and they're things that the corporate guys, they don't do. Either they can or they don't want to because it doesn't result in more profit. So playing to your strengths and not theirs. The second thing I would say is local matters more than size. When you're working as an electrician, you having the local community connection is more powerful than a corporation or a franchise would have in that community. Because when people are looking through for electricians and that kind of stuff, they might go for the franchise or the large company like Mr. Sparky or whatever. But there are others that want to find the local people, the individuals that they know they can count on and rely on to be there and respond and make sure it's done right the first time, instead of trying to do everything they can to get it as quickly as possible and as profitable as possible. So local matters more than size. Third, you want to build a reputation for integrity. And this one is probably one of the most important ones, because one of the biggest distinctions that I've seen between corporate franchise electricians and electrical companies, they're not all the same. I'm not lumping them all in the same thing, but one of the common denominators I've found is that they are more about getting things done quickly and profitably than they are about serving the customer and their needs and going above and beyond what they need to resolve what they have. And so that is so like integrity. I've always the root word of integrity is integer, one. So you are one-faced. You're not a two-faced person. So you're not one person in front of a customer and the person in front of your family. You have integrity, and you're the same person in front of your family as you are in front of your customers. And so that is a strong attribute for any local business to have. In this world of people wanting to cut corners, they want to swindle and they want to sell and that kind of stuff. They want to make profit, stand out different from that crowd. Finally, it kind of goes to the previous one, stewarding your message. So be the message that you have and the way that you are presenting your service and how it stands out from the larger firms. Because the reality is, these big firms, they do have large marketing budgets. They're spending a lot of money on SEO. They're spending a lot of money on marketing. But at the end of the day, if they do a really shoddy job, word's going to get out, and they're going to have to spend even more money on marketing and SEO and PR to get through that nightmare. Your message and your integrity and your local and your strengths, they're just going to stop. The other thing that you can do from a strategy or like a tactics is if you're in a metropolitan area and you've got a number of larger franchises that you're competing with, one of the things you might consider is looking across the metro area that you're in and finding offices to lease, like room office for a couple $100 a month, put your brand on the door, and creating another Google profile in that city, in that area, with that address, with a new phone number, and then a separate web page for that location. And that way you can start peppering a metro area with your Google profiles in a very legitimate and way that Google will recognize versus some electricians that like, hey, one of my techs, they've got a house over in this part of the town. I'm going to penetrate that part. I'm going to make his house a second location in Google profile, and it's going to be great. Google's not allowing that anymore. They're requiring video verification on every new profile. There is a way that you can get through that with a resident address, but it is so much easier to do that with a virtual office. And so just put it into your marketing budget. If you want to expand beyond your one city, add another city, make sure it's probably about like 20 to miles away from your current location, and get an office. You can look for executive offices, virtual offices. They typically are around $200 to $300, $400 a month, depending on the size. Put in a sign, get the address, and then get ready for the Google video verification, where you'll walk through going into your office and where you meet with customers and that kind of stuff. So that's another way to kind of compete with big franchises that might have multiple locations in your area. All right, thanks everyone for joining. The past couple questions is, how can I move beyond just relying on word of mouth? We talked about shifting from random acts to consistent systems, investing in visibility, not just reputation, leveraging what you already have, so past work to reinforce your story, thinking like a steward, not a contractor, so stewarding all of your data, your messaging, and your brand. And ultimately, marketing isn't about manipulation, it's about multiplication. Stewarding the story, and God will multiply the seeds you plant. Second question we had is, how can I compete with the big corporate firms in my area? This is a great question. We talked about playing to your strengths, not theirs, watching your own bobber. Local matters in size. Certain customers are going to like local more than franchise. Play to their strengths. Third, build a reputation for integrity. Being that honest integrity, high integrity or electrician in the area is going to do a lot more for you than the big corporate companies who just try to get this profitable as possible. And lastly, steward your message, making sure that your messaging aligns with your values and that it is always out there for people to see. The third question we have is, how will I be able to see what's working and what's not? So if you are just joining us, feel free to leave a comment. If you have a question, I've got more to go for this. We've got 15 minutes. I'm going to try to get through these, muscle through these as quickly as possible. So how will I be able to see what's working and what's not? So the first thing I want to do is start with clear goals. Do you want more calls? So this is in regards to a marketing campaign. So starting with clear goals. Do you want more calls? Do you want bigger, higher profitable jobs? Do you want to reduce your ad spend over time? That kind of stuff. Once you have your goals in mind, then you understand what you need to track. And so you want to track everything. So you want to look at tracking phone for every campaign that you do. So if you're doing a flyer campaign, set up a tracking number, and then you can know exactly how calls came in from that flyer campaign. If you're doing a booth at a show or something, have the key code go directly to a custom link so that you know exactly how many people, hey Scott, welcome, see exactly how many people came and converted through that trade show. And two of the tools that we use for us is we use a tool called Agency Analytics, and this is strictly really for marketing. And so we use the dashboards. We create custom dashboards for each of our clients on so we're tracking how many leads are coming in. This is through paid campaigns, Google Ads. We can see what their conversions are up month over month, ad costs and that kind of stuff. Organic we take a look at what leads are coming from Google search. We can see Google business profile, how I'm calling, how many clicks you have, reviews you've gotten, where people are seeing you on what device, that kind of stuff. So using Agency Analytics helps us define and show what is working and what's not. We also use What Converts. So What Converts is a tool that allows us to set up tracking phone numbers as well as tracking forms on websites. And so for this example client, in the last 30 days, they had 28 total leads, 23 calls, 4 web forms. They had 1 SMS message. And so we can see exactly where they came from, the source medium. So CPC, that's Google Ads. Organic, that's Google Search. And you can see these are phone calls. We record every call that comes in, and we can actually see like, okay, is it a conversion or is it something that is spam or scammy? And we do that so that we can see exactly what's working, what's not. When it comes to Google Ads and that targeted approach, everything that comes in from a Google ad, we can track the keyword. I guess most everything. Some of the calls sometimes don't show that if they're using like the ad, it won't show the keyword specifically. But if it's a web form, it'll show us exactly what keyword they searched for, what page they landed on, and what that's about. It also will show like the location where they came in, so we can see this one came in from Gilroy, California, and so then we actually see the data and that kind of stuff. So it's to keep track of where things are where things are not. Monthly, every month you want to have an idea of how many leads came in, where they came in from, and what strategy you want to implement if you're stuff. And so if you are testing out a physical campaign, so like say you started putting out yard signs, we can track how many came in from the yard sign campaign, and we report on that monthly. Beyond the numbers, you want to just have a subjective approach of like, hey, am I getting better jobs, or am I more profitable? Are people generally saying, hey, I just did a Google search and found you, or are they saying they found you online, or they didn't know anybody that was referred to you, that kind of stuff? And that is just kind of subjective of being if it's working. So thanks for joining, everyone. That is the third question. We're jumping into the fourth one here, and 2 more to go. If you have a question, you can leave a comment. Probably won't have time to address it today, but we will capture it and answer it next week. So the fourth question we have is, do I need to keep spending on LSA, Google LSA, and PPC at the same time while building SEO foundation? And so this question came in during a strategy session with a client, and the answer that I have for this is yes and no. So we recommend shifting your spend from LSA to PPC when we start a campaign. When we start a new roadmap with a client, we recommend shifting to PPC for ad spend and instead of LSA. You can keep LSA kind of as a stopgap just in case, but PPC is going to allow us to target those bigger jobs, those higher profitable jobs more easily than LSA. And so while we build SEO, and that typically takes around 6 months till you see like significant like on the investment. So 6 months you'll start seeing like enough leads to pay for the monthly cost. Actually, 3 months you'll probably start seeing enough leads to pay for the cost. 6 months you'll start being able to reduce your ad spend. By 12 months, your ad spend is going to be very minimal, probably like 50% of what you normally spend. And then by 18 months, you should not have to do any ads anymore until you want to add a new service or jump into a new service area. And then we recommend spinning up PPC temporarily while we build out the SEO for that new service and that new service area. So hopefully that answers that question. We have, and thank you those joining us live. If you don't join us live, that's fine. You can catch the recording. We'll play the replay on YouTube podcast as well as the audio version on a number of other podcasts. And we'll also bust up some of these questions, and we'll share them as dedicated videos so that you can continue to see this value week over week. So the final question we have is, what should I ask about when talking to a marketing agency about services? And so this is for evaluating a marketing agency for your understanding that you are not large enough to have your own dedicated marketing team or chief officer, but you're not too small that you can't afford hiring an agency. This is just kind of for the middle. So typically it's from like 700 to 5 or 10, maybe 10 million in annual revenue. And so these are the questions that I recommend a marketing agency when you are talking with them. First and foremost, you want to ask them what reporting looks like. What are they at? What are that they're looking for typically, or that they deliver? And you want to make sure you're in alignment with that. So if they say, yeah, we're going to get you ranked for this keyword, and that's the goal, to get you so much traffic on your website, that's the goal, then chances are they are either going to identify some really like low competition and converting keywords to deliver on those, because those are easy to rank for. And they're also going to either find some sort of traffic network, or like paid traffic sends your website a bunch of traffic that doesn't result in anything. And so they'll, what we've seen is they'll do those to kind of manipulate show you that you're getting great results. What you really want here is we're going to get you X amount, or we're going to increase your number of per month by X, and revenue X through doing these services. And so you want to make sure that their reporting and their results aligns with what actually matters for you. Second, you want to ask is, how do you track conversions? So how are they conversions for you? So oftentimes they'll rely on like Google Analytics to show up like how many people form, that kind of stuff, and or they'll do some basic like call metrics profile, like a business profile. What you want to see here is tracking phone numbers across your website, your Google profile, your ads, any physical campaigns, all of that kind of stuff. You're going to want to see specific form tracking on your website. Any web form that gets submitted, you want to be tracked. And that's really so you can hold them accountable to the results that you're looking for. Third is you want to ask if they have an in-house team, or like who will be in the account. And I say this one because there's a trend going around for a few years now that an agency owner and once they sell you on the service, and it's not a cheap service. So like you're not talking $300-$400 a month here. You're talking like $3,000-$4,000 a month. And when they sell you, they're really good at selling you. They then turn around and have a white label provider fulfill all the work, do all the track of all the reporting and all the conversions and all of that stuff, and send you the results. They might still meet with you monthly on account review, which would be good. But ultimately, it's not them to work. It is this white label provider. And I know this because I've tried this. When I first started out with not the Marketing Clerics, but with Bauer Tech, which is a previous company, I tried doing some white label work because I was still working a full-time day job. And so I was selling nights and weekends and trying to make this full-time. And what I ran into, problems that I ran into, is that the white label provider had very strict standards and procedures that they ran and implemented, and they were the same for every other company that they worked with. And so when it came time to do the and some of the results weren't there, and the client saying, hey, well, what's going on, wanted to say, yeah, I'm going to work hard this next month. I'm going to get you more content, it's going to help you with the results that you need. But then when I went back to the white label provider, they're like, well, this is what we do. You can within 6 months. And if you need anything custom, then we're not the right fit. And that was hard. And the client was, oh, well, what do you can't do that? And so at the end of the day, what I found is that the provider, the white label, is not going to care about your client as much as you do. And that's why in-house team is one of the better ways to go. Now, I will say that's not every case. There are some providers, white label providers, that are good and excellent, and it's a good, they can get results, and it's a model that does work. But it's just not a model that I recommend. The fourth question you want to ask is if they have experience in your industry. And so this one is important, especially for like those in the electrical contracting, because if you can't understand what they sell, what services, the challenges that their customers have, that kind of stuff. And it'll make it hard to market, hard to get the results that they need, and that kind of stuff. And then finally, you want to ask them how they approach your ad budget. And so when you're talking about ad budget and spend, you want to have that is not going to just push the spend and let your set it and fit. Real agency or real marketing team partnership will treat your money like it's their own. They're going to review your ad campaign on a regular basis. They're going to adjust it as needed. They're going to target the specific services that are going to be the most profitable for you. Even though they might not get you as many leads every month, the leads that you do get are going to be valuable and important. And that's one of the things that we preach here. And so when we start a new client on a roadmap, we say expect to spend up to $1,000 a month to start on your ads. And we say up to because what we're doing is we're targeting a specific region, like the Baton Rouge region. We're targeting various keywords around services that are highly profitable for you. And those are the things that we're really, really focused on. So you're going to get less impressions. You're going to get less clicks, but the clicks that you get and the leads that you get are going to result in more sales. And because you have less impressions and less clicks, by the way, you're going to spend a lot less in ads. And so Google Ads is not about spending as much money as possible, because that's what the big corporate guys are doing. They've got $10,000 a month to spend on ads. They've got $25,000 to spend on ads every month, but they're targeting 30 different services, a wider swath area. What we want to do is find you those high ticket that are going to pay for that ad investment within just a couple of leads. Because if we can get you 5 leads for $10,000 projects, then $1,000 a month, that's a good. So that's how we approach ad budget and make sure that they understand that is the case. They just say, well, we'll just put it together and we'll see what it is. We'll watch it every month. That's when you get in trouble. So those are some of the questions you want to ask when you're talking with a marketing agency about services for your business. So that is a wrap for this Saturday's Saturday Sparks. So 5 questions that we talked about. How can I move beyond relying just on word of mouth? So you want to shift from random acts to consistent systems, invest in visibility, not just reputation. Leverage what you already have using your past work to reinforce your brand story. Thinking like a steward, not a contractor. Marketing isn't about manipulation, it's about multiplication. Steward the story and God will multiply the seeds that you plant. Second question, how can I compete with the big corporate firms in my area? You want to play to your strengths, not theirs. Watch your bobber. Local matters more than size. A lot of customers want local more than big franchises because they know they'll get taken care of locally. Build a reputation for integrity. Steward your message well. Third question, how will I be able to see what's working and what's not in my marketing campaign? You want to start with clear goals. Do you want more calls, bigger jobs, reducing your ad spend over time? Then you want to track everything from tracking phone numbers, tracking forms across all of your different campaigns so that you know what's working and what's not. You want to have monthly reporting that will keep track of how many leads you got, where the leads came from. You want to look beyond the numbers. You want bigger jobs. Are you in general? Are people saying that they found you? Fourth question we had was, do I need to keep spending on LSA or PPC at the same time as you build out the SEO foundation? Yes and no. The answer is we want to spend on targeted PPC, Google Ads, and reduce or eliminate the LSA spend because the PPC ads will get you a greater return on the investment, and we can target specific services for that in areas. And fifth, what should I ask about when talking about talking to a marketing agency? You want to understand their reporting, how they track conversions. Ask if they're in-house teams or they're outsourcing. If they have experience in their industry is a plus. And then ask them how they approach your ad budget. And so those are the 5 questions we had this week. If you had a question and you weren't able to join us live, feel free to make a comment or send us a message, and I will add that to the queue for next Saturday, which is, what's the date? Saturday is June 7th at 9 a.m. We'll catch you then. Also, another announcement, we are launching, or I'm having a brand messaging workshop this Tuesday, the 3rd of June at 2 p.m. Central Time. This is going to be a highly interactive workshop where we will go through brand messaging, understanding your ideal customer, understanding your messaging, how to reach and speak to them, and how to be the hero, how to make them the hero of their own story. And you can be the guide to getting them the result that they need. And so that is, I'm really excited about that session. It'll be Tuesday at 2 p.m. Central Time. So if you're interested in that, leave a comment. I'll send you the link, and we'll share the link as well later on. Thank you all for joining. If you would care to leave a comment or like, I would really appreciate it. Share the video as well. I'd like to get some more people attending this in the future because I think it is pretty valuable. So thanks, everyone. Have a blessed rest of your weekend, and we'll catch you next week.